Hey, what's up guys? Fish Tank Mike here. Today we're kind of just cruising the fish room and we're hanging out. There's a few things that I wanted to show you. I'm sure the title and the thumbnail have alluded to what those are, but we're just gonna kind of cruise around and go around to the different tanks. We're gonna have some nice footage of fish swimming around. I'm gonna clean them up. We're gonna talk about stuff, and it should be just a fun little video for you. We're gonna talk about some stuff that's planned for 2020 loosely. I want to get your feedback on some stuff. I think we're gonna have to wait for some of these tanks to turn on, guys. It's kind of, I'm usually not down here in the morning filming like this, but I got to get all my tanks nice and clean, everybody situated, because I'm about to be gone for the weekend. I'm actually going to be down in Florida hanging out with the people from Waterbox. They're hosting a little event at a cool resort down in the Keys, which is awesome. I've never been there, so I'm actually doing a presentation, and I think all this is going to be live on Waterbox's YouTube channel, so make sure you go follow them. I'll have some links in the description. So we got to prepare for me being MIA for a little bit here, and yeah, so let's get started. I showed you guys in a recent video the huge trim we did on this tank, which is the third tank of the 340s here on the wall. And as you can tell, we're starting to get some new growth, finally. We got our CO2 level back up after our scary little incident where we almost killed all the fish in this aquarium, guys. But see if we can get a good shot of some of these stems in the back. You can see all the new little growths poking up there. It won't be long before we really start to see some good growth out of this tank. Doing that trim really opened it up, and we got a lot more light down here at our hair grass, which is something that I 100% wanted to have happen. It does look really nice though, at least I think it does, being able to see the wood, the nice spider wood that we have in this tank. I'm really loving the color of it, and you know, once this tank grows up again, it's gonna be hidden and we're gonna have to go through that process again, but that's just all part of it. You're gonna notice besides the duck that's floating up there is all the green spot algae. Because we did a big trim on this tank, we obviously changed the environment quite a bit. So right when we do a big trim, obviously we've tweaked this system considerably. We go from having a lot of biomass that's really hungry for nutrients to a different situation where we still have plants that want nutrients, but there's just not that much biomass, right? And whenever I do a big trim like this, I want to make sure the plants are ready to go. So of course we have, you know, plenty of CO2 going into the system, but then we also need to make sure that we have enough nutrients for the plants to start their journey of growing all the way back up to the top of the water again. And if we've learned anything from the last experiment video, guys, is that typically when you have green spot algae, you have maybe a little bit of a phosphate limitation. So let's go ahead and check the water column really quick and see if we can detect any phosphate. The colors don't show up very well on camera, but it's looking like we indeed have 0 phosphate in the water column. You guys haven't seen the results of this experiment yet, so let's run back over here. But even in the first experiment, we learned that the substrate is having a really big influence on the plant growth. And I know that that's not like a new idea or anything. It might actually be kind of obvious to a lot of you guys, but just because we're not detecting any phosphate in the water column doesn't mean that our plants don't have access to phosphate, okay? So we have an active substrate. This tank is fairly established at this point, and so there's definitely going to be a lot of nutrients in our substrate. And because most of the plants in here, at least the stem plants, are planted into that substrate, they probably have access to everything they need. But still, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna dose the water column here with some UNS all-in-one fertilizer. I like this stuff. I just started using it, and it's been working pretty good for me over here in the forest tank. The goal here, after we do a little water change and scrape this algae, is to bring the concentration of phosphate as well as everything else in this fertilizer up into our water column and give our plants everything they need. And hopefully, by adding a little bit of phosphate into the water column, as long as it can stay in there for a while, we're going to see if we can keep this green spot algae from coming back. Post water change, guys, just letting things get a little bit more clear before we get some more sweet B-roll shots. But people always ask me about dechlorinator because sometimes I show when I dechlorinate, sometimes I don't show. And just so you guys know, actually Corey did a video on this really recently where I think it was titled "The Truth Behind Dechlorinators." Okay, that video is super cool. You should definitely check it out. But something that Corey talks about is that his water, the stuff coming out of his tap, has a relatively low chlorine level. And while I don't live super close to Corey, I don't also live like a million miles away, but my water has a similar property. So I can do a relatively small water change, 20%, and not need to add any dechlorinator because my chlorine levels are so low. But most of the time, no matter what size of water change, I always do add something. I typically add a little bit while I'm refilling and then a little bit more at the end. And you guys know we use Fritz stuff here. They're a channel sponsor, so I use the Pond Guard because it's a little bit more concentrated version of the normal guard. They got other stuff, right, like the Complete and the ACCR, but we just stick with the normal stuff. I just wanted to clarify that just so you guys know, if you're in a place where you have a lot of chloramine or like a ton of chlorine, I feel for you. I'm sorry that you have to go through that it's so necessary. I live in a very perfect place for freshwater aquariums, guys. What can I say? One more plug, guys, I promise, and then we're going to be moving on to what the heck is going on with our crazy jumpy fish, alright? So just don't forget, guys, flippers, I love these things. They are, I think I love these things more than my toothbrush, and you guys know how much I love my toothbrush. So don't forget, if you want to get your hands on a flipper cleaner, you can get them at Flip Aquatics. That's super easy to remember, right? And you can also use my code AQUAPROS10 and get 10% off. You can't do that on Amazon. Okay. So the forest tank, guys, we know this tank, we love this tank. Where's Ziggy? I think he's hiding here. You guys that have been watching the channel for forever, you remember Ziggy. But yeah, we got all our Kurai Tetras in here, guys. And if we come over here, you guys know the Avatar tank, obviously. I was chilling, and actually the last time that we did this tank, when we did the All My Tanks video and we cleaned this tank up and took a closer look at it, I noticed that these two Kurai Tetras were in this tank. And at first I noticed just one of them. You can see him right there in the middle, and I was like, okay, that's pretty crazy. Like, he made the jump, right? But not too crazy, nothing, unheard of. But then I was looking around and I saw another one. Let's see if we can get both of them on camera at the same time so you know I'm not crazy. Okay, here we go. So there's one right there, you can barely see him, and then there's the other one right there. Okay, so two. Now notice, they're both the same size. And the weird thing is that up until like 5 minutes ago, I didn't notice that there were any other baby or, young fish of that size in this tank. Now, I'm seeing like one of them. There could be more hiding in the back, but I'm just trying to think, like, I don't transfer anything from this tank to this tank. I don't take any moss. I don't take any other kind of material from one of these tanks to the other. So how crazy is it that two baby fish managed to make this jump? Like, if we go in between here and we look in between and behind the aquariums, we don't see a pile of dead fish. So there's not a lot of people jumping, or, well, there's not a lot of fish jumping from tank to tank, but I just thought that was totally crazy. Like, what are the odds that two fish that happen to be from the same spawn managed to make that jump? But it's all good. I don't think there's any reason why we need to take them out right now. They get a little bit bigger, then they start doing some work on our shrimp population, then we don't want them in there. So whenever, I mean, we'll take them out and move them back. But I just wanted to show that and see what you guys thought of that whole situation. Don't mind the green spot algae. I think we're just gonna do a water change on both of these tanks, guys, and I'm not gonna bother showing that off to you because you know how to do water changes. But let's take a look at the other cool fish situation we got going on over in the wine glass. I'm sure you guys remember the video where I talked about the fact that we had a bunch of babies in here and then most likely they all got eaten by the parents. Well, check it out, because we have a ton of babies in here and they managed to get past that point, I think. I'm not an experienced guppy keeper, guys. This is actually the first time that I've had guppies for long enough to like actually get them to breed. And so I'm not gonna pretend like I know a bunch of stuff about guppies, but I think we're safe at this point. Like, these babies are a lot bigger than the first batch of babies, or the first few batches that ended up disappearing. So I don't think that the parents are gonna end up chowing down on these guys. So we're just gonna go with it. This is the most simple, low-tech aquarium that I have right now, and if you guys are familiar with the channel, right, you know that this thing is in a giant wine glass, and it probably shouldn't be. Nonetheless, this thing has just continued to be the most, like, easy aquarium and most fun aquarium, I think, in the fish room right now, because it's just teeming with life. There's always something crazy going on in it, and you know, it doesn't have a filter. There's nothing going on here. I don't do a ton of water changes on it. You know, maybe 50% water change every 2 or 3 weeks, and it just thrives. It does really well. The plants aren't doing crazy good, but again, it's like we don't add ferts, no filter, not a high-powered light. Like, the plants are still doing okay, and that's fine with me. So, like, down here we got the Rotala that's been propagating and, you know, started to carpet down here. There's some nice baby guppies. Got the Monte Carlo that's, you know, struggling a little bit, and then, you know, the Rotala, the Needleleaf Laguigia, even the Lobelia, super leggy because the light input is so low. But the Anubias congensis in the middle, doing great, loves it. We might put a couple more pieces in here. I think it looks pretty good. Quick, guys, count the guppies. I can't do it. I mean, maybe 20, 30 on a good day. This dude right here, I don't know if you can see him, but he is, let's see if we can get a better shot of him. He is all kinds of funky. So he's got a nice bend in his spine, and it's not uncommon when you have these big batches of guppies come through to get deformities. At least, you know, that's what I know from reading and talking to people that have done this a lot. So it is a situation where, you know, if something's not gonna make it, I mean, you cull it just like you would a shrimp. But I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna wait a little bit. We're not gonna cull them out just yet, and we'll just see what happens. Anyway, long story short, we got a ton of baby guppies in here, and it's super awesome. And if you want to get some fancy guppies just like these, all for yourself, all you gotta do is go to TwinCitiesGuppies.com and get some awesome guppies from my buddy Gang Lee, because they're awesome. Anyway, guys, I think that's gonna do it for today's video. I'm not gonna show you Ancient Gardens because I already tore half of it down and we're rescaping the whole thing, and I probably shouldn't have said that, but you know what? Maybe that's what's happening, maybe it's not. I don't know. We're gonna see. I think, did I say at the beginning of this video that we were gonna, wait. I almost forgot. I wanted to show you guys my junk pile, okay? This is gonna be moving here pretty soon, and we're gonna make way for more than a few new aquariums. So that's gonna be fun. We're gonna continue to expand this room, you know, as 2020 goes on. I kinda wanna put something right here, and that's all I'm gonna say about that, guys. Okay, now I think we're done, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna kick some buckets around here, get stuff cleaned up, and just get ready to be worried about my fish tanks for 4 days. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, notification bell, like button, all that YouTube stuff. Thank you very much. I appreciate it a lot, guys. You make all of this possible, so thank you once again. From all my fish tanks to yours, wish you luck. I'm super stressed out right now, can you tell? So anyway, have a good weekend, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a good one, guys.